Star in Korea, and today I'm going to tell you guys the times that I have gotten scammed while living in Korea. Before we get started with this video, I just want to remind you guys, if you're not subscribed to my channel, to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, since a lot of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So I would greatly appreciate if you go ahead and do that before we get into the video. And let's get started. So the first time that I remember being scammed while living in Korea was back in 2017. My friend and I, we decided to go to this area in Seoul that was well known for selling electronic goods at a cheap price or selling used goods. And she was really into cameras and photography, so she was looking for a new camera lens, and I was just kind of going to tag along and see if I could find anything. When we got there were just all of these vendors of people selling a variety of different electronics, and we stopped and we looked at a bunch of things, and we finally came to this one vendor, and my friend saw a camera lens that she liked. So she was looking at the camera lens, and I feel like my friend knows cameras really well, so I feel like she would know what a good price is to buy a camera lens for so that she's not getting scammed. But while she was focusing on the camera lens, I was looking at the tripods for cameras. So while I was looking at the tripods, I was trying to pick one that looked like it would be the cheapest, though I had never bought a tripod before in my entire life, so I didn't know what cheap would be and what expensive would be. And so I picked up this one tripod and I asked him how much it was. And at the time, my Korean was not good. I also very much struggled with numbers in Korean, so if somebody told me the price of something, I wasn't very good at knowing exactly how much the price was, because it just really confused me. So I heard him say 50,000 won, but I was like, I must clearly be mistaken, because I hope I can find a picture or a similar picture of what this tripod looked like, but it was so cheap, so flimsy. It was this big at most, and it could barely even hold the weight of my camera, so I was like, it has to be 5,000. I know he did not say 50,000. I must have just misheard him. So I hand him 10,000 won, thinking I'm gonna get like some change back. And he's like, no, five. And I'm like, I already had started the transaction, so I felt like awkward to cancel it and be like, actually, I don't want this. It was already in my hand. I already had like twisted it onto my camera, and I was like, oh, for 5,000, I would pay this. But I was too awkward, and the language barrier was awkward for me. So I was just like, oh, it's 50,000 won. And in my head, I'm thinking like, maybe I'm just crazy. Like, I really don't know the price of tripods, so maybe this is how much this tripod costs. Maybe this extremely tiny tripod is like special and this is just the price. So I ended up giving him 50,000 won, and I'm still so upset that I paid that amount of money, because after I paid that money, I paid 50,000 won for that tripod. And again, I'm thinking in my head like, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe this is the actual price of the tripod. A few months later, I was in Daiso, which is a like Five Below store in Korea, and I saw the exact same tripod for 5,000 won. And I was so upset because while I had been using that tripod, it never did what it was supposed to do. And I just always think back to how stupid I was for paying 50,000 won for a tripod. And to be honest, I would probably do it again, because I'm too awkward to like start confrontation, or like once I start doing something, even if I don't want to do it anymore, I will continue to do it because I'm not quite sure how to back out of what I started. So yeah, that was the first time I got scammed in Korea. So the second time that I got scammed in Korea was also in Seoul. It was when I was taking a taxi by myself. At the time, I didn't use Kakao Taxi to call my taxi, so I wasn't sure exactly what the price was gonna be. I just kind of like waved down a taxi on the road, and where I was going to be like a 10-minute drive, give or take a few minutes. And so I'm expecting to pay maybe like maximum 15,000 won, and that is too expensive, but that would have been like the most amount of money I would have expected to pay. So anyway, I get in the taxi, and the taxi driver starts talking to me in Korean, and I'm kind of not really focusing. I didn't notice that he didn't start the meter, and I feel like he started talking to me to distract me so that I wasn't paying attention to the meter. These days when I get in a taxi, I always check to see if the taxi driver started the meter before we start driving, and if he didn't, I will kindly remind him to start it. So anyway, I'm in the taxi, he's talking to me, I'm distracted, I'm not paying attention, and we get to the destination. I then look at the meter and I'm like, oh, the meter didn't start. Anyway, I hand him my card, expecting him to tell me some price of how much it's gonna cost, and he just looks at me and he's like, no card, no card. I'm like, why can't I use a card? What if I didn't have cash? He's like, no card. Okay, well, how much is it? And he's like, 30,000 won. For a 10-minute drive in Seoul, I mean, Seoul is expensive, but it should not have costed 30,000 won for a 10-minute drive. And I was just really upset, but I also didn't know how to argue. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. So anyway, long story short, I paid the money because I'm not a fighter. If you are a fighter, please fight. But moral of the story is, make sure your taxi driver starts the meter when you get in the car. If he says no card, that is a lie. The they all take card. You can also report them if they do something like that. Like they all have like their information in the back of the taxi or on the front of the dashboard too. So that's an option for you. But again, I'm a person who I'm like, I don't want to like start confrontation. I don't want to deal with this. I had the cash. I needed that cash, but naive Brianna just paid the money and went about her day. The third time that I almost got scammed, I didn't get scammed in this situation, but this person was trying to scam me and my friend, was when we were coming out of Seoul Station. When you're coming out of Seoul Station, especially if it's nighttime, be careful of the taxis that are around there. There's usually like a line of taxis and you'll see people waiting in that line to take a taxi. That is probably safe and reliable and people are not going to scam you. If you come out of Seoul Station and maybe there's a long line for the taxis and another taxi driver just comes up to you like, oh, where are you going? I can take you there. Don't take that taxi because they're going to overcharge you. So me and my friend had come out of Seoul Station. It was late at night and I don't even think there was a really long line for the normal taxi area. This was also maybe like 5 years ago, so we were not as familiar with how things work in Korea. So we were planning on spending the night at this bathhouse in Seoul and we didn't know the location of the bathhouse. We also were not super comfortable looking things up on the map. We were just like, oh, we'll just take a taxi from Seoul Station and we'll go to the bathhouse. It'll be super easy and that's it. Little did we know the bathhouse was literally a 5-minute walk from the station, but we didn't check the map. We were just like, we'll get to the station, we'll get in a taxi and we'll go to the bathhouse. So we're walking out of the station and this taxi driver comes up to us and he's like, where are you going? Where are you going? And we told him where we were going or where we wanted to go. We said the name of the bathhouse and he's like, oh, okay. He kind of looked at us strangely, but we didn't really know why. But now after realizing, he probably was thinking like we're extreme idiots. So we didn't have any luggage or anything, maybe like a backpack or something. And he told us, he's like, oh, I will take you to that place for 20,000 won. Again, mind you, it's a 5-minute walk. So that means it was a 1-minute drive and he's like, I'm gonna charge you guys 20,000 won to take you this 1 minute. And me and my friend, we didn't realize how close it was. So we're kind of looking at each other. We're like, oh, okay. I mean, should we just take the taxi since we don't know where the bathhouse is anyway? And then we kind of stopped and thought for a moment. And if I would have been by myself, I probably would not have thought. But my friend was like, hey, let's take a step back here and maybe we can just look up how far the bathhouse is ourselves. And then if that seems like a reasonable price for the distance, sure, why not? So we take a step back, we look at the map finally, and we're like, we can literally get there by walking across the street and making one turn. And we felt so stupid and we didn't even say anything to the guy. We just walked away because we were upset that this guy was trying to scam us, but also we were being stupid because we didn't look at the map. But yeah, when you're coming out of Seoul Station, be careful of taxis that are not waiting in the line. Be careful if somebody just comes up to you and is offering you a taxi ride, might scam you and probably not gonna give you the best price. The last way that I was scammed in Korea was also in Seoul. Seoul is a big city, so obviously there's gonna be a lot of scammers there, so just be careful. I remember I was by myself. I think I was waiting for my friend. This was also probably like 4 or 5 years ago because I really don't go to Seoul anymore. Ever. I just don't have a reason to. It's kind of way too far away from me. It takes like 5 hours to get there. So I really don't go to Seoul anymore. But yeah, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, I was in Seoul. I think I was waiting for my friend and I was outside of a coffee shop and I had just bought a coffee. And I was standing there and some girl who looks to be in college, like 19, 20, she comes up to me. She was super, super sweet, like super nice. And she spoke perfect English. She was Korean. She comes up to me and she starts saying she's with this charity that's helping. I don't remember exactly what the charity was for, but I think it was for like animals or something. I don't know. And she had this pamphlet showing me what her charity was about. It looked kind of strange. She kind of just like briefly was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Do you have any money that you could donate to this charity? And if you do that, I will give you this keychain. A very strange interaction. But again, remember, Brianna is very naive. Okay, if you are not a naive person, you're not childish like me, you will probably do a lot better when it comes to scammers, but I am very naive and non-confrontational. So anyway, she's like, if you have any money to donate and I'll give you this keychain, I very much appreciate that. And like, I don't know, she was just so nice, like almost like mesmerizingly nice that I was like, okay. And I had $1. Whenever I have like $1 and someone's asking me to donate, like if I see like somebody on the street asking for money, like if I just have $1, I'm like, why do I need this $1? you know, this dollar is not gonna do anything for me. Like, I will give them this dollar. Now again, if I don't have small change and maybe like I only have like a 10,000 won or something and I'm like, well, I kind of actually really need that money, I might be less inclined to donate. But if I have like $1 or $2, I'm like, come on, Brianna, what are you gonna do with $2? So usually if I have small change, I will always donate it. And I was like, I had $1 and I was like, I don't need this dollar, and why not donate to this very mesmerizingly nice woman who is asking me to donate so kindly. So I gave her $1 and she looks at me and she's like, oh, do you have more? I've never had somebody, you know, not approve of my donation to ask me for more money when I give them $1, or like 1,000 won is what I gave her. And so I was actually really taken aback. And the funny thing was, I think she had seen that when I opened my wallet, I had a 10,000 in there. My wallet was already out. I had to touch the 10,000 to get the 1,000. And I just felt so awkward and stupid and like, oh, wow, was that not enough? Like, am I a bad person? I kind of like awkwardly laugh and smile, but then I kind of think like, oh, well, you know, I'm helping some animals here. You know, I like animals. And so I give the 10,000 that was in my wallet to her, though I'm kind of sad because like I actually needed that money for something. And she's like, oh, thank you. She didn't give me my 1,000 back, by the way. So she got 11,000 won. And she gives me this like keychain, and it's like this keychain with something traditional, like a traditional Korean outfit, like hanbok on it. And I'm just like, oh, cool, thanks. I guess I paid 10,000 for this keychain, but at least I donated. And then she gives me this other pamphlet that is this really weird church pamphlet. So obviously I now know that she is part of a cult. And after I gave her my money and she gave me this keychain and then this pamphlet, she starts talking to me about her church, asking me to come to her church, wanting to get my number so that, you know, she can send me information about her church. And it just suddenly got so awkward because at first I really just thought I was donating to a charity, and I was like, okay, whatever, I donated some money. But now it suddenly turned into a recruit Brianna to this cult, and I felt super awkward and I didn't know how to get out of this situation, and I felt like she just took my money. I'm sure there actually was no charity for animals, and now I have to listen to this cult speech. So after she's talking, I was actually really upset at this moment. So I quickly, I'm just like, yeah, my friend's here, I gotta go. My friend wasn't there, but I just like ran away. That moment, like that scam probably made me the most upset. Yeah, just when you're in Korea, just be careful if somebody who speaks perfect English comes up to you and just starts talking to you. Cults are actually a really big thing in Korea, and picking out foreigners, using people in the cult who know English extremely well, or trying to go under the guise of like, oh, let's do language exchange, or oh, are you looking for more friends in Korea, like that. Or even with me, the donating thing, like just be careful of things like that. But yeah, those are the times that I can clearly remember getting scammed in Korea. Again, I'm sure there are other times. If you are coming to Korea, just try to be careful. Don't be naive like me, you know, especially if you're in a big city. But again, I know me telling these stories probably makes me sound like really silly, but I'm learning, okay? I kind of know better now. I still have a very hard time saying no to people or causing like any type of issue, but now I just try my best to actively avoid situations like this. If I see something like this or see something about to happen to me, I will just walk away now instead of engaging with the person. Like once the person gets me to engage with them, I'm gonna have a very hard time saying no. But if I can just walk away before the interaction starts, it's so much better for me. So yeah, those are the stories of how I've gotten scammed while living in Korea. If you have any story times about getting scammed while living in Korea, or if you live in another country that's not your home country and you've gotten scammed there, leave a comment down below and share your story. Also, if there's any videos that you guys would like to see me make, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would greatly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.